Hi, I'm Deron Mills, and this is my executive presentation on pay discrimination under the Equal Pay Act. Failed attempt. Winifred C. Stanley was born August 14, 1909, in Manhattan, New York. She was the first woman to serve assistant district attorney. She also was the first woman to be elected into Congress. And she also became an advocate for equal rights for women. In 1942, the year she was elected, she tried to get pay discrimination on account of sex prohibited, but the bill was not passed. Some say this led to her having a short term in office. The purpose. Women have always played an important role during the wars by taking care of the house and doing their part in the workforce, while the men was out fighting for the country. After World War II, the men returned back to their jobs. As the economy grew, it was urgent to expand the labor force. So there were jobs available for women. But at the time, most seen that women's income would be extra. So they didn't feel that women needed to be paid the same as men. So 1.6 million women became unionized during the mid-50s to early 60s. Women from all over campaigned for equal pay. History. After a long-fought campaign, there was a breakthrough in 1961 for equal pay, but this only applied to teachers and civil servants. There were always legal loopholes that businessmen tried to use. Now, if a man and a woman had the same exact job, then they would get paid the same. But we're talking about a time that segregation was very strong, and it was very less likely to see a man and a woman doing the same exact job. But months before the tragic death of President Kennedy, he signed into law the Equal Pay Act of 1963 to abolish pay discrimination based on sex. The law. The Equal Pay Act is a federal law that is amendment to the Fair Labor Standards Act. Both are enforced by the EEOC, which stands for Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, right along with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Now, the EEOC is a federal agency that not only administrates but also enforces civil rights laws against a workplace that discriminates against the sex. The enforcement. The EEOC ensures that the workplace is complying with the rules of the Equal Pay Act. The EEOC is there to provide guidance as well as leadership. It also has the authority to investigate businesses that's gender discriminating. The EEOC regulation provides technical assistance and monitors, also evaluates federal agencies' affirmative employee programs. It also distributes federal sectors' educational material and conducts training for stakeholders. It also assists administrative judges who conduct hearings on EEOC compliance. The case. Decades later, women are still fighting for equal pay. In 2002, Vermont passed its Equal Pay Act, and 9 years later, it was put to the test. In the case of Wendy Drevis versus Hudson Group, Wendy had 16 years of experience before working for Hudson. When she got the job, she started out around $34,000 a year. She received several raises that bumped her income up to $48,230. In 2010, she was fired for abusive and inappropriate behavior. Dixon, who is Wendy's replacement, would receive $52,000 a year. He wanted $55,000 because the position that he was in, he had to move his family. But he went ahead and agreed with Hudson and stayed with the $52,000 a year. Wendy seen that this was an unfair treatment and took Hudson to court. The judge ruled in Wendy's favor. He didn't see that it was right for a man to negotiate higher wages so Hudson can pay women lower wages. Hudson's defense was that the move for Dixon was the reason he was paid more. But the judge seen that that is not a business-related expense, especially when Dixon was paid a $5,000 stipend. Cases like this are continuing to happen throughout the United States. The EEOC states that it is a total of 1.5 million cases from 1963 till now. The violation. To any person or company that purposely violate the rules that apply to the Equal Pay Act will be fined no more than $10,000 or imprisonment no more than 6 months, or both, depending on the severity of the situation. This is not included with the damages that were caused to the plaintiff. The plaintiff can be rewarded the reimbursement of attorney fees, lost wages. Suggestions. So you have to remember when discussing with male employees, male managers, or supervisors that women are just as important as men in the workplace, and they also deserve the same pay. Pay would only be increased because of education or merits for all employees. If you have to make a decision between a man and a woman, stop and think about the elements that can be used to build a case against you and the company. In a situation, look at the first element. Is it between a man and a woman? Second, do they both work at the same place? And third, are they doing the same exact job? If these elements all apply to you, then you need to stop while you're ahead. Go back, make some changes.